Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Foster, and here you are for the World of Marketing. And here I am with my buddy, and I hope I don't butcher your name. Chad even said how to say it. Danny Izquierdo. Did I do it right? No?
Tom, that's close enough, man. It's Izquierdo.
Izquierdo.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad.
I've heard them all growing up. Telemarketers, teachers, professors, judges even. Nothing phases me anymore. So that was a valiant effort on your part.
I'm half Swedish, and the rest of it is some kind of like combination of English and Scottish. So, you know, there's nothing, no Mexican or Latin American in me whatsoever. So I have no ability to say it correctly.
Come on, don't bullshit me. Bullshit.
Anyway, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on board with me.
Thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to it.
So, Danny, you've been a client for a few years now.
Yeah, I think maybe almost 5 years now, going back to when you all kind of got the website up and running, and little by little, we've, I guess, dipped our toes in the water, trying different services and different plans of attack. So obviously, I'm still around, so it's for a reason. You guys know what you're doing.
I appreciate that. We appreciate it. And it's been a good relationship. And you had a couple of, I know that you work with John right now. And, you know, I've got a couple of notes that he shared with me that we're going to kind of talk about. And we'll get to that. But the point of these World of Marketing podcasts that I'm doing, especially these days, because right now we have a pandemic going on.
Mm-hmm.
And
yep.
That is obviously what everybody's going through, and it's affecting everybody. You and I had a conversation a couple of days ago in kind of preparing for this podcast to just talk about it. And these are designed really to inspire others. And it was interesting what you had said. And I kind of want to start things off this way, is that considering what you've been through, this is, although difficult, not knee buckling. How's that?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. And you kind of phrase it very nicely. And the reason is, look, as a business owner, this is hard, right? Like, I'm not going to try and
you're a DUI criminal defense guy, right? I mean, that's your business. Right. There's not a whole lot of people driving right now and causing crimes because we're all home sheltered. But anyway, go ahead.
Right, and look, and even if there is crime, the enforcement's down because our focus is different. We want to make sure that the people buying Cuban coffee at the little windows, the ventanitas, which are so popular down here, are keeping their social distance and they're wearing their mask. And so, and what you were saying, Tom, like, I think had this pandemic happened last year, the year before, 3 years ago, this would have just been crushing. And the reason being that I'm the type of person, I guess, from my upbringing playing baseball, where although baseball is a game of failure, and that's really helpful as a trial lawyer, especially a criminal defense lawyer, where, you know, you get rulings against you, you get witnesses do things, clients lie to you, like you have to roll with the punches and deal with a little bit of failure. I think my bond with my grandfather that revolved around baseball was always a lot of kind of a demand for excellence. I can go 2 for 3 with a double and a home run, and we'd get in the car and he'd want to talk about why I struck out, you know, by letting a fastball go. You know, he'd always want it. So naturally, I always expect a lot of myself. And I'm the type of person that's never really satisfied. But going back to 2017, 2018, and part of 2019, I would also take things very very personally. I would take things, I would let things really affect me, and my mindset was just not where it needed to be. I mean, right after we built the website, things were really like, humming. The growth was there, and I decided to move offices. I thought, let me have a strategic partnership with a mentor, and all of a sudden, that relationship, it blossomed. Right, business was good, but other parts of my business, I think, suffered, and that really got me down for months and months, and it just gets to the point where I'm unhappy with the results. I want perfection, but mentally I had an issue kind of getting past the struggle and overcoming it. So I make the decision, I take action. I'm coming back to my old office space. Things kind of start picking up again. And about beginning of 2018, it was actually the end of 17. We had just gotten back from my son's 1-month-old checkup at the pediatrician. We were out at Schulerberger just having a quick bite to eat when I got a phone call. And that phone call was basically telling me that an immediate family member, and out of respect to them, I won't say exactly who it is, but it's an immediate family member, and it's among those that are supposed to be closest to us. I got a phone call that the FBI knocked on their door at work, and they were now under criminal investigation. And doing what I do for a living, I think, helped me. It helped me be a resource for them. It helped me explain things to my family. It helped me get them the best lawyer possible, and that was my mentor, the person that I was sharing the office space with, who I can never repay him, but I was a rock for them, for my family. I was a rock for everybody, Tom, except for myself, because all of a sudden my focus shifted from we're back in the office, let's grow, let's keep kicking ass, to let's just get done what needs to get done. But my focus on marketing it waned, right? Somebody came in, we signed them up. We did great work for them. But the extra time, the time that I should have been marketing and writing content and posting on social and, having coffee, having lunch, putting on events, doing all these things that I had mapped out and wanted to do, didn't happen. And that's because I was kind of sitting around just feeling sorry for myself, right? I kind of let it overwhelm me. And I was cheating myself. And I think at that time, it was all up here, man. Like I had it in my heart, but mentally it shut me down. It shut me down. I'd use it as an excuse. And I wasn't thriving. I was just surviving until, eventually, like, the case ended, right? They were sentenced. They surrendered to BOP, Bureau of Prisons. And little by little, man, I kind of started digging my way out of it, right? And it was reading books, changing the marketing message, like trying to find positives in everything I could. So, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job. Part of the reason why I became a lawyer is because when I was 18, I got charged with reckless driving. And we hired this guy down the street. I couldn't even tell you his name right now. We hired him. He sent some guy to cover the hearing. 18-year-old kid, set to go off to college, scared shitless. I went up to the podium by myself. Guy was late. Prosecutor gives me an offer. The judge tells me to sit back down. Guy walks through the door, calls me out in the gallery. Hey, is Danny Izquierdo here? Yeah, that's me. Oh, your lawyer sent me. Cool. They called my case. It was just the worst experience. So I've always used that because part of the reason why we're in business is, to fight for people's rights and be in court and stand up for the underdog. But I think we kind of bring a different dynamic in that I never want my client to feel the way I felt that day, way back when. And so when this thing happened to my relative, it was just another piece, right? Another driver to the why, where we really know what our client is going through. And not just because I've done this for X number of years and I've represented hundreds of, no. I mean, I truly know what it's like to pick your relative up, drive them to court for their sentencing, knowing that you're driving home by yourself. And I think little by little, right, on the long car rides to go visit at the prison, the audible books, the just really getting out of my own way and not letting it get me down, I think has really prepared me for this pandemic, Tom. Like I'm not kidding you. If this would have hit a few years ago when I was that guy, I would have let this thing beat me before it even had a chance to. I like the thing you said about there's nobody on the road. The arrests are way down. It just would have, it would have been crushing, you know. And look, as a business owner, nothing's guaranteed, right? And it isn't over. But I think I would have let it beat me before it even had a chance to, I guess is what I'm saying. It just.
And you haven't let
I wouldn't
this time. I mean, like that's kind of the attitude that I witnessed when we were talking the other day. You were like, it is what it is. And you know, and I think that's really the message that I want everybody to hear is that, yeah, we're not discounting it. We're not saying that this isn't difficult. But at the same time, you know, what we also talked about and what we're going to talk about and what I've talked about with lots of other lawyers, many of whom, you know, Adam Rossin and others that about the pivot, about you've got to adapt to the new normal because we're never going back.
Right.
Those of you that are sitting out there just kind of waiting for it to go back to the way it was, you've got to stop that. Because, you know, I was talking to my wife last night about this, that it's never going back to the way it was. There is going to be a new normal that we're all going to adjust to. And so the sooner that everybody accepts that and the sooner that everybody moves towards that direction, and we talked a lot about that, and you're already doing that, you know. A lot of your colleagues, and we're not going to mention anybody by name, but a lot of your colleagues that are kind of stuck in their ways, they're very afraid. And that's fine to be afraid. It's okay. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that you should be frozen in place.
Right.
You know,
right. And I think that's the biggest thing. Where, you know, like when we chatted the other day, like I've always had a vision for my firm that we're going to be small by choice, a boutique, you know, not a volume kind of mill type of criminal defense practice. So I think the old Danny with the really bad mindset would have just been defeated and just waiting for the demise to happen. Whereas I see people, you know, colleagues that are kind of just sitting around waiting to see when this is over, to see what kind of fees they can get. And I just decided I'm going to go down swinging. If I'm going down, I'm going down swinging, so to speak. And we've been out there on social media. We've offered other businesses to come on and maybe do a guest blog or get on our email list or do a Facebook Live. I mean, whatever we can do to help. I've reached out to some attorneys that don't practice in my area to see how we can collaborate. Because, you know, I have a list. I am trusted advisor to a lot of people on my list. So how can I blast the list or provide the list with something useful? And just, I had this conversation with Adam a few weeks ago and we talked about it. Like you said, we're never going back to normal. So fine, like what's the pivot for my business as a criminal defense attorney? And I'll never be the low fee, let's sign up as many people as we can, because you're going to do a disservice to your clients. But, you know, for the first time, I'm thinking, well, when we come out of this, if it's not exactly where it was or where I thought we were going to be, then how do we service more people while still keeping the level of service that we want to offer? And is that bringing in an associate? Like the wheels have been turning, and as they should for everybody. You know, and I'm glad that guys like you, guys like Ben Glass, countless authors and books that I've read and have just really like flipped the proverbial switch in my mind, because if you're not doing that, especially in our business in criminal defense, I mean, we might be safe at home or sheltered in place, whatever your state says, for 6 months. And the moment people do go out and start doing things and getting arrested, what kind of fees are you going to be able to get? So if you're not continuing and doing more than you were doing before to make sure you're positioned and ahead of all the guys that are just sitting around, I think you're going to have a real tough time coming out of this.
Well, you said a couple of key things, and one is, you know, you keep referring to yourself as a criminal defense attorney, which is fine. And we talked about this the other day. That is your particular practice focus. But as we discussed, and as you know, you are an attorney first, you're an attorney. And, you know, everybody that knows you knows that first. They know that they can call Danny, their buddy Danny, all your buddies from Florida State, right?
That's right.
I had to do that.
Chad would be proud. You look good doing that.
I had to do that for Chad. They all call you regardless. They're like, I got a problem, whether it's bankruptcy, estate planning, PI, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't know that you have a particular practice focus.
Right. I think now more than ever, and
right.
even the ones that do know, they're still reaching out because of what we said, you know, trusted friend, advisor. They trust that I will put them in the right place.
Right.
And now that's never been more evident.
We need our lawyers now more than ever. Now more than ever.
I think I feel
so much uncertainty in the world, and you guys know how to navigate uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. That's what we do.
That's
we
what you do.
thrive in the chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're the guys that figure out the confusing language. You're the guys that us lay people like me, you know, I might understand marketing and SEO and all that kind of stuff that you might not understand, although you're pretty savvy with that as well. But I don't know how to go argue something, tax law or business interruption. I don't know how to go argue with the insurance company to get paid, you know, that as you know, you've got thousands of people on your list that you've helped and represented over the years that are going to look to you, if they haven't already, and are going to continue to look to you for help, for getting them out of this mess once things start opening up, as they are already in Florida.
Right.
And people are getting back to, or they're either gleefully going back to work, yay, or they're getting pushed to go back to work. A whole different thing, you know? Yeah. And so there's two sides of that coin. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to need our lawyers more than ever. And so you're one of those leaders, and connecting, like what we talked about. Okay, so your specialty is criminal defense, but you know a lot of other lawyers that their specialty is bankruptcy or other areas, business, that you can connect your friends and family and colleagues and past clients and current clients to.
Yeah.
And I also said now at the beginning of the call about, whether they're lawyers or not, helping the restaurants, helping other local businesses that get the word out. I mean, we talked about you do this as well. You do these kinds of podcasts as well. You have a voice. You have a voice on social media. I think that when we were talking, you get a lot of compliments, and a lot of your lawyer buddies say you're a marketing genius because of your social media and your Instagram. You got a great Instagram page, right?
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like it.
Fantastic work.
Thank you. I mean, it just goes to show you, like, I think a little bit of effort goes a long way.
Yeah.
And it's just like little things, man. And don't get bogged down in the big stuff and overwhelmed. Just, you don't have to take 1,000 steps, right?
You didn't start out like, woo, like you had a lot of head trash.
Right.
And you were talking about that earlier. You had a lot of head trash, your own. Then you've had these personal difficulties, with your family. That, thank you for sharing that with me and everybody else. Because I think that's important. I think that, and before when we were talking, before I press record, you were saying that, you've had a lot of clients come in there, and they're like, how am I going to tell my family about this? Grown men, grown women saying, how am I going to tell my kids? And you're like, listen, I know how you tell them, because I've been through this myself. And I think that says a lot, And so, I mean, you have a tremendous gift, Danny. And so I think that others that are listening to this should be looking to you for leadership, should be looking to you for guidance, to help. I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like, we always come out and we think we don't know what we're doing. We think we don't know. But we always know more than somebody else. And we never know more than somebody else. We're always kind of like right in the middle of it. Everybody else. We can always teach somebody and learn from somebody. And that's really always the thing. We're always pushing or pulling. And I think that's one of the great things about humanity.
Yeah, no, and I think that's funny you mentioned that, I guess, or interesting. I don't know what it is, but I don't think you're ever ready for anything in life, right? I mean, I go back to when I was coaching baseball, because I wasn't ready to go to law school yet. And I was thinking about, do I apply for a head coaching job? And at times I would catch myself saying, I'm not really ready, or that's too big of a high school. And the truth is, you're never really ready to be a head coach. You're never ready to be a parent. You're never ready to start your own business. You're never ready to go on social media and put your brand out there. Like, you're never ready to press record on your phone and try and shoot some content for people. Like, you just take a step, then take another one, then take another one. And I think, thank God, man, that I finally kind of got out of my own way, because that was always the hardest thing for me. And I think probably in the last, year and a half, where I've just been taking little steps. And then when you look back, all of a sudden, attorney buddies are calling you like a marketer. And in my mind, I haven't done 1/10 of what I want to do with it. But, I guess you got to smell the roses and realize, yeah, okay, well, I have done a lot, not where we want, and that's fine. But, recognize you've done something, and then just keep going. So, I mean.
Well, let's talk a little bit about it, because I want to give a little bit of examples here. And John has put together a couple of things that you guys have worked on together. One of them is, of course, my favorite example, because it's timely, and I've had a couple of the clients that have done this, which is the Tiger King.
God.
So, right? Okay, I know, right? Everybody's like, everybody has a giggle and a laugh. You've either watched the Tiger King, you know what the hell we're talking about. Right. Or you haven't, but everybody has heard about the Tiger King. If you don't know what we're talking about, you're living in a well, because everybody knows what we're talking about here with the Tiger King. And so tell me a little bit about what this campaign was about, and why did you do it? So
John and I were talking like we always do. And And I think it was at the beginning of all this stuff, you know, and that's again, and Tom, again, another, I can't say enough about you and your team, how we had our monthly calls. John was always available, but when this started, just the amount of support that we got, or at least that I got as a client. I don't know if everybody else, I'm sure everybody else did. And we were just talking, and he said, well, what do you think about this? Can you do this? And I said, yeah, sure. And it's funny because the old Danny probably would have been so overwhelmed for a week trying to think that I had to learn everything about the case and be perfect. And the new Danny kind of just went on Google and read some stuff. I found his trial transcript. I read most of it, and I just started writing, and like in my own voice. I didn't care. It wasn't a Supreme Court brief. It wasn't War and Peace. It was just, I'm going to write it in my voice like I'm talking to somebody.
Yeah.
And again, I have a journalism background. I was a sports writer, so maybe I do have an advantage there. But I just started writing, and I thought, you know, it had some humor. It was very informative, and
it's a pop culture reference. It was top of mind. It's a Netflix hit. Right. Mm-hmm. It also has local notoriety because Carol Baskins, one of the three main characters, is in Tampa, Florida. Right.
Yeah, we're working on a piece now. We're talking about how the police has come out and said they may reopen or look into Carol Baskin again. So we're gonna take that, and we're gonna write a piece about being under investigation. And that's really what we did with Joe Exotic. But the feedback was like, there's some Google, you saw it, there's a Google app. If you just type in tiger on Google, this like 3D thing will come up, and it basically takes over your camera, and you can take a picture with a live animal, or what looks like a live animal, obviously. So we did that. You know, I put on a kind of like a button down, went out in the front yard, had my wife take a picture of me like petting a tiger.
That's funny.
It's because people are visual, right? So if you just put like, check out how I'd represent the Tiger King, it doesn't really matter. All of a sudden you're scrolling through your feed, and here's Danny petting a tiger. And then the caption is guess what, mother, you know, just like Joe Exotic would say himself. And all of a sudden it's a hit, you know, who cares what the article says? But
well, I think the lesson here, you know, like a lot of people are like, because I bring this up with so many people, you know, it's part of the formula that we talked about and John talked about with you about. It goes beyond the law. Yes, you're a lawyer, but you're a brand. You're a brand, you know, and the important thing is to remind people of your brand. People buy from people. That's the number one marketing rule. People buy from people they like. They wouldn't have hired you if they didn't like you, if they didn't have some connection with you. And they don't want to go out and go get and find another lawyer. They don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Just like we don't want to go out and find another dentist or another doctor once we've got a good relationship with somebody. Mm-hmm. What happens to all of us is that we forget. And so what the whole point of this is reminding people of your brand, of your name, without boring them to tears and annoying them. And so you can annoy them by, you know, the legal newsletter of Danny Izquierdo, you know, over and over again. That will bore the shit out of everybody.
Right.
But if you come out and are funny, if you come out and are interesting, provocative, you know, pop culture reference, which the Tiger King is, provocative, which is, you know, maybe like 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 mistakes that your defense attorney will make on your next case, which will get people's attention. Success stories. Another one that we're going to talk about is your expungement, you know, like come get your expungement kind of thing, which is just another way of helping people and getting your brand in front of them. Now, obviously you can't help everybody, but that's not necessarily the point. Not everything is a sale. A sale can also be measured by just a reconnection with somebody, right?
Right.
And that's really the lesson here. That's really what we're talking about here in marketing is staying front of mind with people through all of this so that when they are ready, because it is not, you have a list of, I think, what, 600, 700 people on your database, right? Some or more?
Yeah, I think between 7 and 8. That's our
They're
mailing
not
list.
all ready to hire you today,
No.
okay?
No,
Of course not. That's realistic.
yeah, and a lot of them, look, with what we do, we have a lot of one and dones, and
Right.
thankfully for them, but their cousin, their friend, their colleague, that's where, it's our practice here, like immigration, right? Let's use immigration as an example. Chances are, if Maria needed the immigration attorney, her husband needs it, her kids will use them. There's more of a multiplier. Estate planning, same thing, right? The kids
They're
come
going
in for
to
the
ask
estate
their
planning.
friends. They're going to ask their friends and family before they go and do a Google search.
Right. Yep.
And the biggest problem with attorneys especially is that they rely, and they've been bullshitted, that Google search is where it's all at. I'm not saying, because it's my business,
right.
I'm not saying that Google's not important, but I'm saying don't put all your eggs into one basket of Google. By the way, Google just made the announcement, everybody stay at home until the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all like staying at home and working, social distancing. So Google used to be your friend, not so much anymore. Google's like the friend that tells you all kinds of stuff that doesn't come true. So, and Google makes a shit ton of money on pay-per-click off attorneys, more money off attorneys than any other industry whatsoever. And attorneys keep giving it a lot of money. So I'm not saying not do it, but make sure that you're communicating with your list. So many attorneys completely avoid their list. Thank God you've seen the light, and you're doing this, and you see how it has worked.
Right. No, it's huge for I think it's more important in our practice area.
Yeah.
To stay on top of them and stay top of mind, because a lot of them are only going to buy once.
Yeah.
And chances are you're not going to have like the brother, the cousin, the sister, the mother, whereas other practice areas lend themselves to that. By us staying top of mind, it helps us, it enables us that when this guy's at the water cooler and he overhears his colleague, he says, hey, you got to call this guy, or this guy helped me with a problem, and that's kind of how to cultivate, right? It's kind of like farming versus hunting, kind of crappy analogy, I guess, but that's really what it comes down to.
So tell me a little bit. So tell me about the expungement offer.
Well, so we decide, obviously you got to get creative in these times. So, expungement is something that we've always done, like a lot of criminal defense attorneys do. The reason we put it out there was, how many tens of millions have applied for unemployment? I mean, I could say 30 million right now, and tomorrow it's going to be 33 million. It's an astronomical number. So now more than ever, there's a need for people to go back into the workforce without a criminal record, kind of dragging them down, because you have all these people thrown into the labor pool now. How do you think employers are going to make decisions? I got 5 people on my desk. 4 of them are pretty good. 1 guy has a criminal record. That one's gone, right? That's an easy one. So the purpose of that was, obviously it drums up business for us, right? But we tried to do it in a way, the discount was huge. The messaging was basically, you're going to have a tough go of it if you've lost your job, or you're going to lose your job. Let us help you out, and that's what we did. And the response has been tremendous, because I don't know if it's probably a combination, right? The pricing with the messaging, it all kind of worked. And even if they don't hire us, now that's another person on our list. That's another person that views us as trusted source, or friend. So I think it's been extremely successul. And it's something that you can do in every practice area right now.
And just on that point, because now people, they're at home. A lot of them are unemployed, like you said. It's tragic, but it is what it is. And hey, let's take advantage of, let's clean up your record, because now you're not as busy as you were running, from job to job or sitting in traffic or doing whatever. Let's take advantage of this quiet time to take care of these things that you've been wanting to take care of. I have these conversations with the estate planners too. Now's the time to get your estate plan updated. Let's get your affairs in order while there's a kind of a pause in humanity, in what's going on. There's a silver lining to everything. Like I'm not trying to say that this is not a tragic event going on, but you want to make the best out of it. You want to take what you can from it. You want to. Yeah. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. You want to do what you can.
No, and
definitely.
And I think that's, I think like gratitude and just be grateful for today kind of thing. I know it sounds so hokey and cliche, but like from a business standpoint, what can you do to work on your business? Can you move cases along faster now because you're not having to go to court? Can you market more? On a personal level, for me, it's been awesome to not sit in my car for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. 5 o'clock, 5:15, I'm with Joseph and Melissa, and we're going for walks and we're going in the pool. And you know what? And you got to appreciate that, because eventually when the rat race starts again, you're going to miss that. Like, you're going to be happy that you're back at work and business is up, but you're going to miss spending time with the family. So there's positives in everything, man. And this is a new guy you're talking to.
Global warming's down, pollution is down, like all those great things. You go outside, you see families walking together, people are hanging out like they weren't before.
Right.
The stress level is down, just in terms of like the anxiety of like, got to get to work at 9 and people in cars and the traffic and all that kind of stuff. That craziness is all but turned off now. And so there's great benefit to that.
I think there's definitely been a nice uptick in quality of life.
Yeah.
If you let yourself realize it and enjoy it.
Right.
I guess.
Right.
That's real. And I don't know how familiar you are with Miami, but you can go on a walk and you'll see one jogger in an hour and a half. Now, my wife and I joke, it's the same people. You're talking dozens of people on our walks now. It's the same couple with the 2 kids, and it's the older couple, or it's the single guy on the run. Like, it's the same people, and it builds up the sense of community, and the quality of life just shot up. Look, does it suck? Of course. People unfortunately lost their lives. Like my best friend's grandfather, fell victim to this thing. It's a very real problem. You're unemployed, your business is suffering, people are unfortunately passing away, but there's so many positives that you can take from it. And I think if you let yourself take those positives, man, you're going to be good. You're going to be ahead of everybody else.
I think that's the message really that we're trying to convey here to everybody, isn't it, Danny? That you've got to always look at the glass as half full. You can, it's a choice. You can mire yourself down in all of the bad, and man,
right.
It doesn't take long to do that. Just open up your news app and you'll be sucked in. And it doesn't take long to feel pretty damn depressed. you know, you brought up jobless and unemployment, and you know, like I was just reading about that this morning, and that, you know, that is very concerning, very concerning. But if you get bogged down in almost the hopelessness of that, instead of, well, we've got to hold on to what can we do to bring about change. And that's what inspires me to do these podcasts. I can tell you that, and I'm actually surprised. Our business the marketing business we're doing very well. We've signed on clients, like we haven't really missed a beat. You know, we've had some clients struggle, but they're back on their feet. We had a little bit of a dip, but they're back on their feet. You know, we've had some clients who are like, cases are down, but now they're back.
Right.
You know, because they pivoted. If some that were just like, oh, woe is me, it's all over. Yeah, they suffered. They're hurting. But like you, if they're like, well, we've got to shift, we've got to do some things differently. Or Adam Rawson, who's like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. I'm going to interview some buddies. I'm going to help out some people. And if they change their attitude, instead of poor me, this is all terrible and tragic, and you know, I feel sorry for myself. That's what's going to happen to you. But if you change your attitude and say, well, what can I do? You know, you have a list, and you have a lot of people on your list, and you know a lot of people. You have a lot of friends and family, like you said, people that own restaurants, people that own bars, people that own, you know, like there's no reason why you can't do an interview. As a matter of fact, I'm talking to Ed Littlejohn here. I'm doing a podcast of him here in a little bit.
Okay.
His brother, and I'll be talking about that. His brother has a restaurant. And I'm like, why don't you interview your brother and talk about some kind of special where he can, you know, do a delivery service. And he's like, I never even thought about that. Well, they're in a small town. Why wouldn't you do that kind of stuff? You know,
Right.
because it's brands that will survive. As an example, so in our town, in Northern Virginia, there's a great restaurant chain. It's called the Great American Restaurants, and they have several. And those of you in Northern Virginia know what I'm talking about. It's Mike's American Grill, Silverado, Coastal Flats. These are restaurants that are around here. They do absolutely no marketing whatsoever. You have never seen them advertise on television, radio, anything. But there is a line out the door for lunch and dinner at these places. They've got the best menu, the best food. They are by reputation. Those are the kind of brands that will survive, because those are destination places, because people love the environment. People love the staff, and they've been around for 20 years plus, and they continue to open these restaurants. They've got excellent food. The service and the staff is excellent. So my wife and I called up, or we had a gift certificate or a gift card, and we're like thinking, now, you know, like I'm tired of cooking. I do all the cooking around here. So I'm like tired of cooking, and I'm like, well, let's go order from this place. Well, they have their own app. They don't go through DoorDash. They have high quality, and they're not so expensive. They're probably a little more expensive than like Applebee's or Fridays, and like everybody, like they're all those places are all the same. They're not much different. They've got these giant menus with millions of things on the menu, which never trust a restaurant with millions of things on the menu. Anyway,
Right.
So the American restaurants are very simple menus. So we get on the app, and not only can you order their normal stuff, but you can order groceries through them. How smart is that?
That's a
Because
pivot.
what are they doing? They're getting food from their distributor houses. So you go to I don't know how it is down there, but you go here, you cannot get toilet paper from the grocery store, right?
Same. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you order from them. You can get toilet paper.
Get a burger and a couple of rolls.
Yeah, get a couple of rolls. Get your salmon fillets and a couple of rolls of toilet paper and paper towels and milk and orange juice and butter, because they get this stuff from their restaurant depot.
Yeah,
that's just smart.
You know, it's funny how those types, and we have one here. We have a place. It's called Palacio de los Jugos, basically like Juice Palace, right? It started as like a fruit stand, a place where you go and get like natural fruit shakes and, you know, pick up a couple of things. Then it turned into kind of like a food by the pound, where you can go by and get a ton of rice or a ton of chicken or whatever. And now they're all over town. They have like outdoor seating. But when this thing happens, you hear similar, right? Now they're selling cartons of eggs, paper towels, like to go along with the chicken, the beans, the whatever, you know. And it's those people with a name in the community that are also willing to pivot and do what needs to get done, first and foremost to help others, right? They're helping their distributor, they're helping local farmers, they're helping.
Exactly.
And most importantly, they're helping their customer.
Right.
I think that's what I think that kind of brings us full circle with the list and the amount of calls I've gotten about anything and everything that's not criminal defense. And I think you have to add value however you can. And not just now, but going forward too.
And that's how your brand survives something like this. A brand, because once again, going back to what I said before, people buy from people they like, and people buy from brands. They will consistently buy from brands they like over and over and over again until that brand disappoints them. And so like when you go to your local supermarket and you're trying to buy a roll of toilet paper, and every time you go there, they don't have it. And people are rude. And you're like, good Lord. I mean, this is the supermarket. How could they not have toilet paper? Like, how could they not? I mean, they normally have a ton of it, and now they have none. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But a restaurant can deliver it to you. Like I can order it right now and have it here in an hour. It's shorter than that. Actually, the delivery time is better than DoorDash or Grubhub. And because it's directly from them, and maybe I'll pay a few more bucks, but I got toilet paper now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
look, we had to do it. We had to use Walmart all of a sudden. Like we got this thing. I mean, it could have been a 4-person bobsled, and I know that because Joseph and I did a funny TikTok video, kind of using the box as a bobsled. I mean, of toilet paper and paper towels, we got it. We ordered it at 10 o'clock at night. It was there the next morning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple. And down here, you know, we have Publix, and I love Publix. And anybody who's been to Florida or Georgia or South Carolina or North Carolina or Tennessee knows, I mean, this is a huge operation.
Yeah.
And it's hard for them to stock it, you know?
And what are people doing? I don't get it. I don't really get what's going on with the toilet paper anyway.
I don't. I mean, I think initially the fear that we're going to be locked in our house and never get out.
Yeah,
but
does that mean that you're just going to be pooping your head off? I mean, like, I just don't understand.
It escalated quickly, as the kids would say.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
That was the first thing that sold out was toilet paper. And what's interesting, like the toilet paper and yeast. Like, you can't get yeast either.
Right. Yeah, everybody thinks they're a baker now.
I know. I am amazed at people. And listen, they fight over it. Like, no, that's
shameless plug. When this all started, I think it was Friday the 13th or that weekend, where things started shutting down for us. Melissa and I went to Publix, you know, late, like 10 o'clock at night. You know, and we were kind of worried. But as of Thanksgiving, we switched to a plant-based diet. So we got in there, there's no meat, there's no eggs, there's no cheese, there's no milk. Right. we were happier than pigs and poop. Like like there's no shortage of fruits, veggies, beans. Like, so we thought, all right,
Hey, no
this is
worries.
this is the way to survive a pandemic, right? Just completely change your life and
Hey, I'm
eat
glad
all
you
the
brought
crap
that
that
up
nobody
because
wants.
I forgot to say that. You lost 55 pounds.
Yeah. And have managed to continue losing during this pandemic.
Hey, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Even though I'm sneaking more plantain chips now that I'm home more. But yeah,
That's
but
okay.
I think that's to come full circle, man. It was a lot of things. Like I just felt like a really old 37-year-old who would fall asleep on the way home from a round of golf that I rode in a cart if I stayed for lunch. And it's like something needs to change. Like there's no reason I should feel this old. And it's something I've thought about and like messed around with researching. And I said, you know what? That's it. And it was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I kid you not. That day, I started eating plant-based. Thursday, by Thanksgiving, I literally had like this much turkey. And I had just up here, I was already like, no, I'm not eating it. So I just had a little, and then it's been, full steam ahead from there. Like my wife's family is Italian. And every Christmas Day, it's like the greatest meal in the world, right? Homemade chicken parm, baked ziti, just melted cheese. Like it's just the greatest thing you can imagine. My wife and I made a plant-based lasagna, and we served it along the other stuff. And I think it just goes back to like a
They
lot of
didn't throw
people
you
say,
out of there? They weren't like,
my father-in-law wasn't too happy, but he was understanding.
you
And
put up with it.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of people ask me, like, what can you eat there? Or what can you eat? And I tell them, once you get past it, you can't eat meat, chicken, fish, or dairy. The world's your oyster. You can eat whatever there's just so many things out there. And it all goes back to mindset, where like it's, if you tell yourself this is what I'm going to do, and you just take a step today and a little step dude, it's been awesome. Like I haven't counted calories. I haven't worked out. I'm probably eating hundreds of grams of carbs a day because of fruits and veggies and oats and grains and seeds. And I just keep like, I feel 20 years younger, man. And it's helped my life as a father, as a husband, as a friend, as a business owner, as a lawyer. Like, I mean, it's awesome, dude. I tried a 5-day attempted murder case. We went from 9 to 6 every day. And come Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when it was all over, it felt like Monday. Like it's awesome.
Good for you.
And it's changed my life, definitely. So it all has, Tom. You guys included, Ben Glass included. Like I just had to let it change my life.
Well, good job, man. You're an inspiration to everybody, Danny.
I never thought of myself that way, but if I can be, then I'm happy to.
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Yeah.
What a gift. All right. Well, Danny, anything else you want to offer?
No, I think I've spoken way more than I should have. But I think, man,
I think it was great.
Just wish everybody good luck and good health, most importantly, and just keep trucking. Just keep moving forward.
Keep trucking. Positive. Be positive. It's never too late to change, never too late to make adjustments. Check in on you again here soon. And I'd like to thank you again for being on the World of Marketing, Danny. And anybody that wants to reach out, can they reach out to you and ask you some advice about things?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the easiest way, they can send me an email, daniel@izlegal.com. They can go to the website, I guess we don't have to say that anymore, so izlegal.com. Send me a message through there, or the office number, 305-707-7345. Send a text there, and either myself or Vanessa will get back to you, and we'll set something up.
Very good. All right, Danny, thank you so much. All right,
Thanks,
everybody,
Tom.
It's been Tom Foster and my buddy Danny in the World of Marketing. Everybody stay safe. Talk soon.